now tuned in to United Football Media's Tell Me About It, the number one wraparound roundtable show from the number one spring football media conglomerate covering the number one spring football league. And goodness gracious, two questions. Do the Brahmas suck? And why does True look so different this week? We got Scout from Southern Charm Sports, United Football Media alumni, doing big things with the Sunbelt, doing big things with video game streaming, doing big things with, I think, some baseball streaming, correct? Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're here, from outside of the circle, then you know who the hell Scout is. But he's joining us this week. True is out on assignment. So we got Scout to sub in. We're excited for it. This is the roundtable discussion of the United Football League. We're going to start off, a little bit. You're highly familiar there, Scout. We started off Friday night, the Birmingham Stallions, the Michigan Panthers. This to me was a story. Stallions 21, Panthers 12, by the way. Leaders for the Stallions, Matt Corral. It didn't look like it. It felt a lot more fitful than this, but it was 62% completion, 200 yards. Ricky Person, hard fought, 53 yards, only 3.1 yards per carry. They came through with the victory, but to me, it felt a lot more like a game filled of missed opportunities for the Panthers. The game was there for the taking a couple of occasions. Would have been a wild time down there in the Birmingham area. If these Stallions started off 0-2, it's a short season. Although I will say on the UFL side, I think we're going to have a little bit more of a race to the finish there because two teams got to make it, and so nobody's really looked that impressive on that side of the league so far this year. But still, 0-2 is not where you want to be. So it would have been a little bit of a panic mode. Stallions pull off the dub, getting it together a little bit more. But I think we still expect to see a lot more from this roster. As loaded as it is. News coming out of that game, Alex Magoo down with the injury. I believe he'll be back next week. Scott may have a better update on that than me. But yeah, it looks like Alex Magoo will be back next week. Not a super hot start for this guy that we heard so much about here on Tell Me About It. Just saying. I would like it. And to say I'm not like reveling in any of that, by the way, if anybody thinks that they're wrong, I would love for this league to have 8 quarterbacks that should be in the NFL and that are amazing and that can run because I want to watch good football every week. And this week was some tough to come by any scoring this week. Scott, thoughts on Birmingham and Michigan on Friday night?
Yeah, so I was at the Biscuits game, taking pictures, but I did have it on my phone, and I got the guy at the bar to have it on. I watched it back over on Saturday, but I just wanted to say, obviously, I hope Magoo recovers very well. But Matt Corral obviously had a very good game, a much better game on the front seven side on defense, on the offensive line side on offense. And I will say, still the quarterback play wasn't that great, but Corral did make up for it with that long bomb to Deon Cain. But past that, this was more of a coming to moment for the Stallions. Obviously, they have been good, but then this was I wouldn't say we're back, but the defense was the standard. I had a little conversation with Luke Miller before and during the game, and basically I was like, hey, last week the defense wasn't the problem, but it wasn't the standard, and this was closer to the standard. Not giving whichever quarterback they threw out their time in the pocket, causing havoc, causing issues. And then there were several times where they felt like they could convert a third down and we stopped them, or they felt like they could get a long play and they just failed at it. So I think taking them out of their comfort zones with all that was very good, but I was impressed with the Stallions. Obviously, I picked the Panthers as like a reverse jinx on Friday, and I think I actually went 0-4, at least 1-3 in those picks. But yeah, I'm glad they beat the Panthers. I'm not scared, but I'm intrigued by the Renegades matchup. I do think Bob Stoops wants to beat the Stallions. I think this is a game that he would have circled, especially with the fact that they're the only team that the Renegades haven't beat to this point, I believe, of all the teams. So this is going to be a big game coming up, and I'm like, big game Bob, yeah.
Tay, thoughts on Friday night's game?
It was definitely an interesting game. Panthers didn't really wake up into the fourth quarter, but kind of I think I had the score pretty close. Stallions definitely needed this one. You don't want to start off 0-2. Matt Crowd made it interesting. Will they start him next week? Who knows? Like, he didn't play like an amazing game or anything, but they won. And he played better than Magoo last week, but it was week 1. But that might be something to look at. But yeah, the Stallions they played a good game. They could have lost though. Panthers played around a lot though. Like they didn't score anything into the fourth quarter. So Stallions held on. I think this was a good first win of the season. And they're just gonna have to build on it, because they came out sloppy week 1. This was a great week 2, and yeah, we'll just see how good the Stallions are, because right now it's kind of up in the air for me,
I think a question that needs to be asked, especially now that we've seen 2 weeks, in regards to that Magoo performance last week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is just a really, really, really good DC Defenders defense,
for sure,
because they once again controlled the game in this week. It's the next game I had up to cover. Defenders 17, Showboats 12. I came very close to predicting that score. Did I or did I not? I had 20-10. So it was right there. And basically everything that I had concerns about going into this game happened. And we will, in the DC Defenders show, we're going to keep our problems. We're going to keep family business in-house. So we will be certainly discussing this Jordan Diamo situation on the show on Friday. But and then for the Showboats, I called them out, both of them out by name. Adams and the called it out. Lance Boykin making big plays just like he did the week before. Made big plays in this game. Almost messed it up. It was another close one, another hard-fought win for the Defenders. The defense just doing a fantastic job. Your guy, EJ Perry, though, man, Tay, he's giving him a chance. He's giving him a chance 2 weeks in a row. You better respect him. We need to respect EJ Perry. He was showing us why in that game Saturday night. Great crowd, by the way. Way to go, Rowdy Outy. Again, we'll talk about that more in DC Defender Show. On Friday, this DC Defenders defense looks big time. The offensive line did not control the game the way I thought that they would in the running game. They were excellent in pass protection. But this was mostly the defense's game. Defense won the game for us, hung in there. The playmaking was there when it needed to be. I think that we still are pretty far away from seeing the best version of this DC Defenders team that we're going to see, because it was pretty ugly. It was ugly with a capital U on the offensive side of the ball for a lot of the game. What do you think there, Scout?
Yeah, and to go on your point, I do think DC is one of the better defenses in the league this year. I think if they can show me a little bit more on offense, then I would say that they're one of the better teams this year. And obviously there's only 8 teams, so like the difference is, that small. But with all of that, I do really like this DC Defenders defense. Didn't get to catch much of the game. There was a lot of Final Four stuff going on as well, but DC, they had a pretty good team, or they had a pretty good game. Obviously, I watched a little bit of the highlights. I would love to see like how the first 6, or not 6, how the first 5 weeks go for them, like the first half of the season, and then go like from there, because I had some bad takes. Like, I'll just go out and say that, like, as soon, even before Barlow, but I thought this would be a down year for DC, and now 2 weeks in, they're going to be, I think they're almost a playoff lock with how the other teams in that conference are playing. Not saying that the Brahmas can't bounce back, but just how far DC is playing, they're at least going to be 1 or 2 in that side of the conference.
Somebody on this show predicted that. Hey, somebody down there in the bottom quadrant of the. Hey, that is one thing you brought it up, and I want to hit on it real quick. Shannon Harris, man, what a damn surprise. Well, not really a surprise. I don't want to downplay his abilities, but He's been doing a phenomenal job. That's what I'm trying to get at. He's been fantastic so far this year in what was a lot of people thought was like an uphill climb, like a tough situation. He has been excellent. What'd you think of the game, Tay?
It was a sloppy game, but a win is a win for the defenders. The game plan was a bit different from last week.
Especially in this league, man. 2-0 is a big up.
Oh yeah. I mean, you win 3-0. You take the win. So yeah, the game plan was a little different for the defenders this week. You could tell the focal point of offense was run the ball. Abram Smith got the ball a lot. Deion Jackson got the ball a lot. So I would say that helped out. That helped out Te'amu.
Deion Jackson usage is going up. He's looking good.
Yep. Yeah, so passing attempts went down a lot, which is good.
They needed to go down more.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. Passing attempts went down a lot more, and the defense came through. But I'll say this though, if you're a Showboats fan, I wouldn't be upset about this.
No, I wouldn't feel too bad.
Well. Yeah.
I think both teams, I think both the Panthers and the Defenders are looked at as like pretty solid teams, and the Boats were right there with them. And they looked very good in the first week with Ken Wisenhunt back as far as some of the stuff that they were running. They couldn't quite cash in because I think the Defenders defense has so many standout studs that were just making plays at the right times. But once the Showboats get to play some of these skeezy teams, I think they're gonna look a lot better. I think they've had a real tough start to the season schedule wise. They get a couple of these softer teams. I think they got a chance to make a move. Roughnecks, Renegades. Oh man, this was a. You wanted to get your 1:30 post lunch nap in. This was you'd have been good to go on that. A defensive battle. Let's go with that. It's a little bit bizarre because Perez, if you looked at the numbers, the stats are pretty solid for the Renegades. Luis Perez, 70% completion, over 200 yards, a touchdown. DD Hunter had 4.5 yards of carry, 63 yards. The total team rushing was over 100. Isaiah Winstead, 7 for 73. There was Donald Payne, of course, the Payne train, 10 tackles. What else is new? Stats didn't look bad, but the Renegades just could not convert. They could not turn these good stats into points. It's still very much a work in progress with Anthony Brown at quarterback. Tay tried to warn us, and it has come to fruition with how that has gone. They're still really searching for an identity down there with the Roughnecks. The defense, though, very admirable. Hey, they give up some good stats, but bend but don't break. They did not allow a lot of points to an offense that was pretty darn high powered in the first week, and moving the ball pretty well in this game. So I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for the Roughnecks. I will say though, and we were talking about it in the UFM group chat. Hey man, this for damn sure was a game that the Renegades lose last year. It come down to these last few plays and the last few inches and a bounce here and a bounce there. They're definitely losing this game last year. And that's what we talk about. Things regress to the mean. Things like that change year over year, especially when you have really talented teams, good coaching staffs. You come up with those wins. And we've been saying this might be the year things all come together for the Renegades finally, after we've been talking about it for a couple of years. And they got this one knocked out 2-0. God dang, Tay, the all-Tay playoffs over here on the XFL side is going to be the Defenders and the Renegades, eh? Scout, you look like you had something. You had a thought. What was that?
Yeah, I will say one thing, and I think whenever I saw Lindsey Scott Jr. leaving the team, I assumed what their offensive scheme would be, and it would be, built around Luis Perez, built around the Spring King and all of his assets. And I think with all that, the fact that they've been able to create a habitat for him to succeed, obviously they didn't put a lot of points up today, but they won the field position battle. Like, they were getting those 20, 30-yard drives. And when you have an old school coach like Stoops, that's what he wants. He wants to win the game the long way if he has to, obviously. Like, everybody wants to go out there, drop 40 points, and leave the ballpark, right? But sometimes you got to win the other way. You got to win, just punting the ball every time you can. And obviously, they want to shore it up a little bit. They got the Stallions next. I think they would have won a more consistent game offensively, especially against a high-powered offense. But being able to win in multiple ways is what makes championship teams. And I do believe, like, and especially because I know we just watched the Battlehawks game. I don't even think it maybe had just finished,
Yep.
as
So
I'm saying that. But
well, it's been over
with
for a
the
while, but
Battlehawks team,
score wise, but yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
with the Battlehawks team, it's like they're gonna be 2-0, and I'm gonna have less, and like it's gonna be less impressive than Arlington because I think just the different ways that you've won. Because I think like Arlington with Luis Perez, it's been a well-oiled machine. Even though they haven't put up a lot of points, it's been impressive versus Manny Wilkins and stuff. They've had some calls go their way. They've had, I'm not saying biased calls. I'm just saying got lucky a couple times. Like
Yeah,
does that
it
hold
worked out
up?
for him today pretty good.
Yeah, does that hold up over like the first half of the season is what I'd like to say.
Oh yeah, like last year, this was a loss. You could just see how the game was unfolding in the fourth quarter. Roughnecks could have won the game, just playing as sloppy as they did, they still could have won the game. But as if you're a Renegades fan, you're happy with this because last year, who knows how this game would go. That's how their season was. They lost a bunch of close games, and this year it's looking like it's the other way around. They're winning close games. Um, they're controlling the ball. They lead in time of possession. So yeah, I mean this is perfect for the Renegades. Luis Perez played good. Everyone filled up the stat sheets, and Roughnecks have to do something different though. I think something new has to happen for week 3. I'm not a fan of the Anthony Brown experiment. I think they should, while it's still early, try something new. You don't want to get too far, especially in the 10-game season. You don't want to go like 0-4 and then try to you got to win all 6 after that. So
Yeah.
I think week 3 we should definitely see someone new. Just try something new because you don't have much time, so you got to do it now. So this is a great win for the Renegades, but you like to see them put up more points, but you'll take the win.
The nightcap this week just wrapped, and I'll go back to my question from the beginning. It's unfortunate the timing would have worked out. We could have had Josh on here, or actually, no. I think he's a little bit behind, so he probably isn't done watching it yet.
Yeah, he's about 5 minutes behind broadcast.
Do the Brahmas suck? Scout, your thoughts.
Okay, so I can't shout him out. Shout out a certain there's been a lot of talk in one of the Sounds group chat something about the quarterback, and I think the quarterback, you have a ton of options,
We
and the
told you.
guy
We
that's
tried to
been
tell you. We tried to tell
yeah,
all of you.
there's a ton of options. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I just don't think that he was
It's
the type
working.
of quarterback that you could
Yeah.
just take off, the free agent list and start for you. And I think that you can build around him. I think he could be a project quarterback, but having him as your A1 guy, like I thought from all the conversation that was happening that San Antonio was going to end up with AJ McCarron, right? Because like when Luis Perez said he was coming back from Arlington, that knocked out Arlington. AJ wanted to play for a team that played him twice, and I'm like, okay, well, you get to play twice in St. Louis, and that didn't work out or whatever. I don't know exactly, but um, that current roster, the coaching with that current roster is just like it doesn't add up. And I will say one thing is like the offensive play calling is questionable for sure. Like I know that we had some questions about, the end of the first half clock management. They let, I think it was a total of like a minute and a half run off the clock on plays that you probably wouldn't want time to run off the clock. And sure, it ends with a field goal to end the half, but I don't really know. I think they'll bounce back. I assume this will be, maybe a 3-7 year for them. I think they get swept by the Battlehawks, and they probably get swept by the Renegades too. Um,
Because this is 2 ass whoopings in a row to open the season. Not just getting
yeah,
beat; they got their ass whooped twice.
yeah,
Both games so far. Uh, to be fair to Kellen Mond, just real quick. I can't believe I'm the person who's saying this, but a lot of the team around him is not helping him. Like
yeah.
they're blowing protections. There was 2 wide open drops during this game. It's like the whole team. It's like a situation where we all knew player for player how talented the team is, but then when things start going wrong, and you start to get tight and you start to press and you say this shouldn't be happening to us, then you start messing up the dumb stuff. Then you start messing up the easy stuff. And nothing and everything just seems like it's going wrong. And that's how it's been so far for the Brahmas. Absolutely. And also, to be fair, because I know producer and Josh down in the cow pasture, they're going to be going buck wild about it. There was some pretty bad officiating in this game. Some bad calls. Seemingly all of them went against the Brahmas.
Yeah.
Something to keep an eye on. Something that we've hinted around about on this show before. Battlehawks seem to get the calls somehow, some way. All the best free agents seem to end up on the Battlehawks. It's very funny. I thought it was, before he retired, I thought it was interesting that Max Borger just magically one day was on the Battlehawks, even though they had all these great. Now they're going to have the best running back in the league too. But then he retired. Speaking of which, though, they might still have the best running back in the league because Jacob Sailors is ridiculous, man. He was making plays all over the field. They got a stacked roster of dudes who haven't even touched the ball yet. Hakeem Butler's done nothing. Denzel Mims has done nothing. But Jacob Sailors has done all of the things. See, that is a bad man. I would not at all be upset about seeing him on the Niners next year. He has phenomenal vision. He has phenomenal decision making where he sees the hole, hits the hole, cuts it upfield. Very decisive runner. I love me some Jacob Sailors, man. Tay, do the Brahmas suck?
Yes, they do. Yeah, I just not a Kellen Mond guy, man. And you're right. The team around him, it's not helping them. But I think the Battlehawks are the best team in the league. Kind of what I was saying before the season started. Manny Wilkins, I think he's the MVP. Like, it's early, but I think because
Manny Wilkins,
it's gonna go hand in hand.
He looks nice, man. Yeah.
He looks different than everyone else when I watch.
Yep.
It's kind of gonna go hand in hand. I do think the Battlehawks have the best team, and I think they have the best players. So,
what's crazy is he looks a cut above everybody else, but also still looks like he's still a big puppy that's got to grow into his paws at the same time. Yeah. Like it looks like there's still room to grow. There's still chemistry issues. There's still miscommunications. There's still like he's going to get better. That offense is going to get better as the season goes on. Early. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm in agreement.
I wouldn't want to play the Battlehawks. Honestly, I would not want to play the Battlehawks.
Hey, I will say the one thing that I think might stop a team is if they have a more disciplined second level. Most of the Jacob Sailors touchdown, including the one inside the 5-yard line, it's a breakout. The safety failed, the contain. It's just like if there's more discipline in the back end, and that almost goes on to my point on where the roster and coaching. Like I think Wade can have Wade's proven that he's been able to coach elite defenses, but where is this defense come from, right?
I think that goes to what I was talking about. They have all this talent. They added a former first-round graded player, and it's just not working. And now people are pressing, and now people are doing dumb things like that, like not even playing basic assignment football. Everybody's trying to play cowboy. Everybody's trying to make a play. Everybody's trying to make an individual play because they're pressing, because they don't feel like this should be going the way it's going. And now you're seeing stupid stuff like that where safety's completely out of position. Jacob Sailors makes an easy cut, and there's nothing but green grass in front of him. There was no reason for that safety to be that bad out of position. They got to tighten up. They got to get it together. On the USFL side, you can do nasty work like this and still have a chance, but not on the XFL side. It is not going to work. Next week, we're kicking off Friday night down there in your neck of the woods, old Scout. 8:00 Friday night kickoff. Stallions home opener against the Renegades. What do we think?
Yeah, I got to get off work and head up I-65, but it'll be a great show. I honestly think bold prediction is that Protective will be packed for this one. Obviously, it comes from an area where there's a lot of my fault. But there's a lot of high school football in the area. Obviously you have Thompson in there. They just won a state title. just 30 minutes down the road. You got Parker from the city. They just won a title. And obviously, there's a ton that you can pull from. You got Mountain Brook, Oak Mountain, Hoover. So even Hewitt Trustful, you got all these different, programs and stuff that are used to on Friday night. So if they really push this Friday Night Lights thing, I believe it's the first of two that are on a Friday night in Birmingham, if not three, but at least two. And I think Friday night will work in Birmingham because it is a college market. It's a amateur market. I think that there will be fireworks. I just don't think it'll be a scoring game per se. Like there might be, some 30-yard field goals kicked, that kind of thing. But yeah, I'll say 17-13 to the Stallions. 17-13.
I think it's going to be a great opportunity for both teams because it's a great opportunity for Arlington to fully and firmly say, we are here this year and we are a contender, going up there and handling business against the 3-time champions with a great defense still, even though things have been a little shaky on the other side of the ball. And on the other hand, great opportunity for Birmingham to fully get right and get back on their feet to where they feel that they're supposed to be, because Arlington's hot, Arlington's undefeated, and people would think this is an opportunity for Arlington just as much. So, good chance for Birmingham to firmly plant their feet as saying, "We got the ship right, we're ready to go." I think it's interesting too. Tay, what do you got on this one?
This one was hard for me to pick because I like how both teams have started. Well, the Stallions week 2, so I'm gonna take the Stallions again. To push it to 2 in a row. Score 17-15. It's gonna be one of those sloppy games. It seems to be a trend. I don't think everyone's gonna wake up, and we'll see less sloppy. Maybe it's like week 4 or 5, but right now, it's still early, first half of the season. So I'm gonna go with the Stallions. I wonder who they started at quarterback. I mean, you could go with Matt Corral since he won last week. That's something to talk about. Who knows? I would guess that's what they're gonna do, but I like the Stallions here in this matchup. 17-15.
And I will say, just to cap on that, it will almost 100% be Matt Corral. I don't think that you can take away from what Matt Corral did on last Friday. And obviously with Magoo being hurt, I think that's almost like a hey. And especially when there was a hot mic moment, it's probably not a hot mic moment, but in this league, we hear them a lot. And Magoo was like, "Hey, coach, I want to go in," and Skip was just like, "Hey."
I mean, it makes sense though, because you have 2 other capable quarterbacks. Let the guy get fully healthy. You'd rather do that in a short season. It's not like he's going to have a lot of time to get healthy. If he does get hurt, aggravate the injury. So no, that makes sense. Next game, Saturday, 2:30 on ESPN, in honor of our guy True. If he was here, he would say, "Left cheek, right cheek." Roughnecks against Showboats. I think the Showboats are going to get it together and start and get on a run, starting with this game. I'm going Showboats. I think it'll be 20-10. What do you think there, Scott?
I do think that Jaron Horton will have the defense locked in. I think this will be a game that they try to allow less than 20 points. I think a magic number for them somewhere around 18, 19. Obviously, I believe over the last 4 years, the Stallions are at the 19 right now. That they've never lost a game where they've given up less than 19 points. And I think that's a great median, right? Basically, hey, as long as we don't give up 3 touchdowns or less, we're gonna win the game. And I think that's a good idea. It sets a realistic boundary. I think some teams, especially if you look in, college football, and obviously this is a minor league football, but in that sense, some of those guys, they don't have that hardened sense of like, hey, we can come back from this, like Tom Brady in the Super Bowl type stuff. But if you make it to where, hey, we can give up this much, but if we give up more, no. So I think it'll be, a 24-14 kind of game.
I don't know if that Roughnecks offense is scoring 14. Tay, what do you got, man? Showboats, Roughnecks. EJ Perry going to bring it home, get this run started, right?
Yeah. That was gonna be my point. Yeah, I like how EJ Perry played last week, despite the loss. They were just outmatched, but this week the Showboats do get their first win, and I think it'll be a good win. I would say 18-6. I don't see the Roughnecks scoring double digits. I can't give them that much credit yet. I can't. Nah, I don't.
Certainly
They
haven't
just
given you any
haven't-
reason to.
Yeah, I just haven't seen enough from the Roughnecks to even to predict them to score more than 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, I like the Showboats in this one. You know, a good confidence booster. You know, get on the board and get your first win at home. So, nothing wrong with that.
Sunday at noon. Man. Brahmas at Panthers. I kind of gotta pick the Brahmas just because this is panic mode at this point, is it not? Like 0-3 with this stacked team that have these expectations. That just cannot happen. And it's unfortunate for the Panthers because they caught teams like that 2 weeks ago. You caught both of the championship game teams looking at Ofer, 0-2 versus 0-3, things like that, 2 weeks in a row. Sucks. There's still more season to go. The Brahmas. I got to go because there are going to be some tough questions if they go to 0-3. What do you think there, Scout?
I mean, do I need to explain it? If I need to explain it, it's just you get belt for 2 weeks, and and I think one thing too is that San Antonio right now. I think one thing that we'll probably hear from Dustin and all of them is that they're kind of been the ones that have gotten the short end of the stick, right?
Yeah, they've
Like
been. Yeah,
they played 4 games at home this year. For more than that, it's just like this is such a bad start. And I love the Brahmas, right? I think I respect the hell out of them. I love that Wade will come out and defend himself, defend his team. He doesn't throw anyone under the bus, which is probably one of my like biggest icks in the coaching world, is when you throw your players under the bus rather than like keep it to yourself. But overall, I just think this is not the Brahmas year. Like I said, like 3-7. They might get a couple, but they have some rough games ahead. I'm sorry, Brahmas, but Brahmas losing.
Tay, thoughts? Are we headed to the bottom? The Brahmas.
Yeah. I just the Brahmas. Getting beat down 2 weeks in a row. It's not a fluke. I think that's the team they are, and it sucks. They were really good last year. They surprised a lot of people last year. They were really good, but I would call this a down year. I mean, it's just no fluke. They've gave up 33 points per game this season. You know, combined both games, it's a lot of points. I like Michigan. I think Michigan is one of those teams. They're not going to beat people they don't belong beating, and they won't lose to the team they shouldn't lose to. I think that's what the Panthers are, and I think the Panthers are better than the Brahmas. I just don't see it in the Brahmas this season. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Panthers. 26-11. I'm really not a fan of this.
The trend's going to continue. The trend is going to continue.
Yeah.
Last game of the week. It's a doozy. It's 2 undefeated teams. Bit of a rivalry game. Especially, man, these Battlehawks. Another thing I've noticed, they do a lot of woofing this year. Both games, a lot of scrappiness, a lot of zestiness in these games, especially their quarterback. They're gonna have a challenge because especially the defenders' defense, they like to woof a lot too. So, gonna be interesting. I think I'm gonna have to go Battlehawks because of the home field advantage, but I don't think it's gonna be. It ain't going to be another walking through the park day for the Battlehawks this week. I'm thinking more of a 20-14 situation, maybe 17-14 situation. It's going to be a fun one. Going to be a fun one next Sunday at 3:00 on ABC at the Battle Dome. Defenders, Battlehawks. What do you think there, Scout?
This is gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna take the Defenders here. I'm gonna take about a
Okay.
I'll take a 24-16 game. I know that's an odd number.
That Defenders offense that you saw the other day says to you that they're going to score 24 points.
Hey, look, 24-16. Jordan Tomu, as somebody can't get his name right on the broadcast. He's gonna get, obviously it's Te'amu. I know. I just saw Eric look at me with blood red eyes. But obviously, I think he'll have a comeback game. I think that this will be a game where the defenders' offense kind of shines. And I don't think they want to be as run reliant, although they will be run heavy, if that makes
Oh, they
sense.
they don't
Um,
want to be. That's very, very
yeah,
clear, and it's driving me
yeah.
insane. And we're going to talk about it
Um,
on Friday. But
Yeah,
yeah, you're right.
but it's to me, I think that this is the bounce back game for the defenders. I think that this is a great showing for what they will be in the future. But overall, it's definitely just one of those tough ones, right? It's just one of those like, hey, like where are we at right now, and where have we come from?
Tay, who you got? Defenders, Battlehawks. Our man Scout over here seems a lot more confident in the offense than me and you do. So who do you got? Battlehawks, defenders.
I got the defenders. I do have the
Oh
defenders
my
also.
gosh. Okay.
Yeah, like as much as I do want to take the Battlehawks so bad, but I like the defenders defense. I
A
think
lot.
I got like 15 to 12 kind of thing. Like, like a field goal or less. It'll be a close one. I do expect the Battlehawks to play a good game, but I like the defenders defense. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the defenders. I guess I don't know if you can call it an upset, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the
Well, I
defenders.
think the
Start
defenders like
3-0.
being in that. I think they like being in that position. I think they like the underdog. I think
Yeah.
they like the people think we're going to lose and we don't have a chance. I think they like having that pressure on them. And Manny Wilkins likes to get pretty loosey goosey with the way he runs the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's in for a rude awakening against this defender's defense. Hey, all you guys, you'll be in for a rude awakening if you try to mess with any other spring football media conglomerate out there, because the United Football Media is the best one. They are number one. So you need to stick with us. Look out this week. Captain's Log, Showboats. We're going to talk about how that thing's going to turn around down there any day. Tough loss. My man Tay and me, DC Defender Show, of course, coming out Friday. Roughnecks rundown. Ace, man, he got to figure out a way forward here, a map to get out of this quagmire that they are in, the Houston Roughnecks. And of course, it's going to be an interesting episode down there in the cow pasture with the Brahma bullpen, our guys, Josh and Dustin. This is not going the way they thought it was going to. There's a lot of different reasons, a lot of different things to pick apart about what happened with the Battlehawks. I'm sure they will be all over it, and we will be all over it, because this is United Football Media's Tell Me About It.